I am very happy to receive your questions. Don't hesitate to ask them freely. This is one of the most complex topics out there. Most people don't understand how this could actually help them, but even a small understanding of this subject can completely transform your life.
Dr. Torsunov, thanks to your lectures, I think I am starting to come out of my stress. I now understand that what I was experiencing was stress, and I have a better sense of what is going on with me.
You have already overcome depression and started to come out of stress, but you are not completely free of it yet.
I'm afraid of that. Prayer has been saving me. It helped even before I found your lectures. Thanks to prayer, I was able to discover your lectures and start listening to you. I kept asking myself, what is wrong? What is going wrong? Prayer was my only support. I kept praying and praying. During prayer, I would feel better, but then I would go out into the world again and stress would return.
That's because you were praying incorrectly. When you begin to feel better during prayer, you shouldn't focus on that feeling of relief. Prayer involves two objects, yourself and holiness. Most often people concentrate on themselves. They repeat the prayer while thinking about themselves and their problems. That doesn't work at all. It doesn't help. That's why it's important to play a recording of a holy person praying, to concentrate, and to read the prayer just like they do, because they have the right focus. A holy person doesn't think about themselves. They are concentrated on God. During prayer, you should adopt the same focus. I want to serve you. I want to serve you. In that moment, it first becomes easier and you feel better. But don't dwell on that. Just keep going and say, I want to continue serving you. Don't stop at the point where you feel relief. Go further. Your stress will come out. Keep praying and that stress will burn away gradually, completely. It will never come back into your life afterward. If you say that stress keeps returning, that's also possible. It means fate is very persistent. In that case, you need to continue like this for a month, let's say. But in fact, if you pray intensively for just 2 hours a day with full focus, during those 2 hours the stress won't be there at all. You won't feel it at all. Then gradually it weighs you down again.
My stress, as you correctly said, and I have come to understand this, is because of my children. I set the wrong goal in life, and it led to intense stress, which has lasted for many years.
Let me comment on your situation so everyone can benefit. When you make your children your highest goal in life, you will never feel correctly aligned. This means you are expecting them to make you happy. But when you place God as your highest goal, He aligns everything correctly. That's the key difference. If we put a person, a house, or money as our highest pursuit, our life doesn't change for the better because the mind functions incorrectly. But if you set God as your highest goal in life, even your children will benefit. Your strength will naturally reach them eventually.
Am I on the right path? Will this all pass?
I'm glad you asked that, but let me ask you, do you feel you are on the right path?
Yes, I do. I feel I am on the right path.
How did you understand that you are on the right path?
I have started noticing changes.
That's one answer, but here is another. You feel it in your heart.
Yes, I feel it right here.
That's where it all begins. First, you truly feel it deep inside, right here, and then changes begin to happen.
Thank you.
And I thank you, truly.
If after a long period of prayer and inner work...
I can see it. You all look brighter. I really like it. I can see strength in you. If you pray just a little more, all the difficulties here will completely dissolve. I can sense it. You need to continue.
But when the situation in life improves and problems go away, I somehow forget to pray.
You relaxed, didn't you?
Yes. What should I do?
That is one of life's biggest problems. There are 3 stages of a person's development. The first stage is when a person strives for happiness in life, and once they get it, they immediately relax. They have reached their goal. The second stage is when simple happiness no longer satisfies them. As the young lady said, I prayed for myself and things got better. Now what? That's when a person begins to think beyond themselves. Living for others brings a deeper joy than thinking about oneself. You want to live for others and do something for them. This brings greater happiness than living for yourself. The third stage is one of absolute purity. When a person begins to live for others, all their sins in the heart burn away. They become an elevated person.
How can I make myself do this without forcing it?
How to make yourself do it without forcing it?
I'm afraid the only way is if more stress comes and forces me.
You're right to be afraid. There is a way to do that, but I don't recommend it. There is a powerful prayer from the Vedas by Queen Kunti. She reads a prayer which in English goes like this: Let these troubles come again and again. so that I, my Lord, may remember you again and again. For remembering you means never seeing the suffering of this world. I prayed like that once, very sincerely, and the Lord gave me his mercy. Troubles began to repeat, and yes, I remembered him, but that experience was enough for a year and a half. So instead, I recommend another method, relationships. For example, find a female friend. Agree with her that she calls you in the evening and asks, "Will you pray tomorrow?" You answer, "I'll try." She says, "No, you do not try, you will." Then she hangs up and thinks, "I'll have to pray too, since I said so." When people communicate, their relationship awakens their conscience. But if you are on your own, if there's no one to be accountable to, your conscience goes quiet. This morning I had to leave for the airport at 7 a.m., but I got up earlier. I went to bed early and got up at 4 because I knew that if I didn't pray in the morning, then I'd have no right to sit here and pretend to be wise. So I started the day with prayer this morning. I prayed and felt that it wasn't in vain because I sensed something might go wrong during the trip. Later, we were driving through the hills in Germany with its beautiful landscapes. We drove up and down. There are picturesque places in Germany at the foothills. We were driving there. Suddenly, snow clouds gathered and wet snow began to fall. Our car had summer tires. The car started sliding on the road like it was on ice. It was scary. I started reciting a prayer at that moment. I already prayed for 2 hours that morning. The car stopped as I was reciting the prayer. The driver said, "We won't be able to go uphill with these tires." We drove uphill and slowly, inch by inch, the car moved uphill with the prayer. We passed through this storm and continued safely. So either you need difficulties to pray or friends, one of the two. There's no other way to make yourself do it. You can't force yourself in any other way.
Will difficulties definitely come?
If you ask for them, then definitely.
No, that's not what I mean.
How was it last time?
Back then, I had my own difficulties. But now everything is clear.
Now that we've spoken, you won't be lazy. You will remember this conversation and know you need to act. In general, get yourself a good friend, because conscience is activated through relationships.
Good afternoon, Dr. Torsunov. Thank you very much for coming to us at this time. I have a question that probably concerns everyone. Can we pray for our faith, for our country, and for those people who are now helping to defend our land? And if so, how?
First, you need to pray. Tune in to a holy person, think about their sound, their voice, and their prayer. Then bow to them and say, "I want to live only for you. I want to serve only you."
You mean to serve God, right?
Then when calmness settles in your heart, you begin thinking about the source of your suffering. You might feel that the territory of your country should be intact and that all its territory should belong to Ukraine. That is the correct feeling because every person should protect the land they live on in their heart. You should know that Ukraine is not just a country. Every country has an angel who protects it. When its territory is violated, the woman who protects Ukraine begins to experience pain. This guardian is a heavenly being. When you pray, you are not only helping your land, you are also helping the higher beings who protect your land. But you must also understand in such a prayer, two things must be present. First is the strength and the integrity of the country. Second is peace. If you leave out peace, you get the same mindset as militants in the Islamic State. They also want unity for Islam and all Muslims, but they kill everyone in the process.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking me such deep questions. I'm not Ukrainian. Though honestly, it's hard to say whether I'm Ukrainian or not. My grandfather on my mother's side lived in Ukraine when the Great Patriotic War began. He watched all his relatives be killed right before his eyes. He ran into a swamp in autumn, hid in the reeds, and sat in the freezing water up to his neck. They couldn't get him out of there. They shot at him but missed. He lost sight in one eye and hearing in one ear, but he survived. Later, he moved to the place where my mother was born, and so was I. We are all deeply connected, 100% sure. Your question?
The purpose of my life is singing. But in the most crucial moments, I get laryngitis. My voice disappears. Why does this happen?
I can help you. Our psyche is designed in such a way that if someone constantly focuses on their face, trying to make it perfect, and if this concentration exceeds a certain norm, then the face becomes overly sensitive. Soon the skin gets irritated, red spots appear, and no cream helps anymore. Similarly, when your voice becomes the epicenter of your attention, voice problems begin. Everything we obsess over eventually becomes a cause of suffering. This is the first thing you should know. Therefore, in prayer, you need to switch from your voice to a holy person. You find that during prayer, your thoughts return to your voice. Push those thoughts away. Say, I want to serve you. I don't want to live for myself. When you keep practicing this, gradually, your psyche begins to align with holiness. And when it does, the most draining, consuming force disappears from your life. You start thinking about the holy person and bow to them. Meanwhile, strength begins to accumulate, but don't focus on that either. Keep thinking about the holy person and serve them. We have one specific problem in our mental settings. We always try to help ourselves, but helping is God's job. Our job is to serve. The function of God is to reward. When we want to help ourselves, we fall into fate's trap. Everything gets twisted, you understand? That's the first part of your answer. The second part is, you will be able to feel great while singing, and you will sing far better when you realize that you are not singing with your voice. When you sing, don't strain your voice, strain your heart. Sing from here. I have neither an ear for music nor a good voice, but when I sing, everyone is happy. Some people laugh, especially the trained ones and those who have talent, because I hit the wrong notes. Others just enjoy it. My wife sings very well. She has musical training. She laughs too, but she likes it and she tells me to keep singing. Back in first grade, my music teacher told me to never sing to anyone. I followed her instructions faithfully.
When you need to sing a higher sound, you naturally start thinking about how to deliver it and everything that goes into it.
Singing higher doesn't mean using your throat. It means the notes are already there. You just sing them with your heart. As the song goes, it's not by chance that my soul feels light, and not by chance that it's joyful.
I have 2 questions. First one is, I was raised by my parents in passion, so where do I begin making changes?
You are a soul, not just a body. A soul can always start boldly with God, with these lectures, with the work we are doing here. So the issue isn't about where to begin. The issue is that you are upset about your fate. You wish you were less sensitive. You want to be happier, to have more than what life has given you, to have what you're not supposed to have. That's the problem. The problem is not where to start. The problem is that you want more happiness than you're supposed to have. Try to just be happy as you are and with what you have right now. You're listening to these lectures. Isn't that happiness? Your life is changing. Isn't that happiness? Rejoice in that. Say to God, I don't need anything else, my Lord. I have enough happiness. And if you're not married yet, that's okay too. Not a big deal.
I'm trying to convince my parents.
Yes, because you want happiness. It hurts when they say certain things, but they say these things because they live differently, and they have a certain level of development. You need to accept them as they are. There is no need to rush. You need to understand that your desire to change your parents comes from your longing to live in an atmosphere of happiness. Once a person begins to feel what that atmosphere is like, they simply can't go back to living the way they did before. But at the same time, they don't understand how to live in an atmosphere of happiness. They've already understood what pure goodness is, but they haven't yet understood where that goodness comes from. They assume that pure goodness means that their parents are also in pure goodness. Everyone listens to lectures, and everyone around them listens to the voice of a holy person. It begins to feel like everything is supposed to be filled with pure goodness. But this is incorrect thinking. It means that you don't want to work on yourself. It means that instead of working on yourself, you want the world around you to change. You don't want your own heart to change. You want your mother and father to change. And so you start to suffocate them. This is called fanaticism. To avoid this, you need to understand that your mother and father and everyone around you are simply reflections of your fate. They represent what you did in your past life, and now it's all resurfacing in the present. What you see before you now is your fate. It's your personal workload. Your job is simply to do your part with sincerity. Similarly, you do not accept yourself as you are, thinking that you have many shortcomings. You want to be better. Similarly, you also don't accept your parents. In doing that, you are rebelling against God. God gave you this body, this environment, and you don't want any of it. You rebel against it. Why? Because you don't want to make efforts. You want happiness. This is a universal problem. I also don't want to get up early in the morning to pray. I want to sleep longer. But I get up, take a shower, and refresh myself. Each morning I start anew. I remind myself what I live for. I try to recall the meaning of my life from the beginning. Don't think about your shortcomings, about your parents. Instead think, I want to serve. Think about the voice of a holy person, not about how to change yourself, but about how to serve a holy person. And when your desire to serve becomes strong, listen to that holy voice. That's when things will start to change on their own. This is how the relationship between a person and God works. When we shift our focus from ourselves, we begin to think about holiness. about God. When we think about a holy person and holiness, that's how we begin to see God. We cannot see him with our eyes right away. For that, we need a doorway. That doorway is holiness. When you think about God, he begins to think about you. A mutual exchange begins. He changes your fate, and you serve him. That is much better than thinking about yourself. Believe me, that's when everything in your life begins to change.
Thank you.
Do you have a ton of questions?
One more. I've started working on myself, but at work, or even in church when I pray, I sometimes feel a lump in my throat, especially when I speak.
A woman's emotional strength is powerful, and these deep feelings can block the body's functions. In those moments, you need to breathe. Breathe deeply, and you will immediately feel relief. As soon as you start breathing, the tension begins to ease through your breath. I breathed for you, and now it's easier for you to speak, isn't it? Does the healing help you? If it doesn't, it means we need to put more effort so that it does. We need to understand why it doesn't help. Healing is always a joint effort. Often people become discouraged and give up. They don't want to fight, but we need to cooperate and work together. Raise your hand, ladies, whose husband is their spiritual mentor. I bow to you. This is very rare. It means you are a developed woman.
How can a man find a spiritual mentor?
Consult your wife. A wife is the heart of her husband. She will tell you everything about yourself. She knows everything about you. My wife knows everything about me.
But what if she says uninspiring things?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Do you think my wife tells me inspiring things? No. She speaks the truth. At first, I don't believe it. Then I pray and realize there is something to what she is saying.
Honestly, I'm already grateful to her. She's a strong woman.
Your wife is a saint. Because if she continues to live with you despite your challenges, she deserves a monument in her lifetime. Consult with her. Why do you need to look for someone else?
All women seem to have husbands as mentors, but in my case, I have my wife.
You have your wife. Don't be so proud of your male body. A woman is a mother. She is the first teacher. If you don't understand the importance of this concept, let me tell you something interesting. A person cannot get closer to God without first knowing his mother. That's why the Lord comes to this world as an ordinary person. He has a mother. The divine feminine principle is the force that gives us access to God. A woman blesses a person's ability to understand God. That's why the very first teacher is the mother. She gives us faith through her milk. But you don't feel this right now because you are proud of yourself. You need to understand that in the spiritual realm, the Lord has a spouse. And she is the first and greatest spiritual teacher of all living beings. That's why all spiritual traditions worship the feminine principle. Those who first honor the feminine principle before the masculine always reach God faster. When a person sincerely worships the divine feminine principle, lust disappears. Lust means the desire to exploit the female body. When lust fades, all that energy begins to move upward. That energy then goes into changing your fate. Worshipping the feminine principle gives protection in all aspects of life. Every monk must worship the feminine principle to protect his monastic path. When a man deeply respects a woman, he prospers in life because the energy of prosperity has a feminine nature. Health is also an energy of prosperity. Now you've asked the right question. First you said healing doesn't help, and now you've said why. Fight for your life. Understand this principle I've just explained. It can radically change your life. We are currently reviewing the principles of prayer, and we are doing that through real-life examples. I would like someone who has already practiced it to share their experience. What we covered last time needs to be reinforced. From this point forward, please ask me only questions about prayer, and only if you have already practiced it. No other questions for now, please, only on our current topic of discussion. The general Q&A session has ended. Who has questions specifically about prayer and has already practiced the technique I suggested in previous lectures? Yes, the gentleman. Don't be shy. This discussion will help everyone. This is a valuable conversation and will be beneficial to many. You can simply say what you did or what you didn't understand. Or you might want to share your experience. You don't necessarily have to ask a question. Just tell us how you practiced and what happened. That's enough.
In the beginning, I found it hard to concentrate on the voice of a holy person.
And how did you deal with that difficulty?
It was hard to concentrate.
So how did you overcome it?
It still exists.
Do you have difficulties in life?
Small ones like everyone else.
Right now, most people in Ukraine have major difficulties. Raise your hand if you are experiencing serious difficulties in life right now. Many people. Concentration happens in only 2 cases. First, when you develop a taste for prayer, when you love this kind of life. Second, in times of hardship. You can't just concentrate at will, but there is another method. I will explain it now. This method always helps everyone. Concentration is enhanced through a specific body posture. If you stand straight, motionless, and completely still, your body will first begin to swell, and your mind will rebel terribly. It will fiercely resist. At first, your concentration on prayer will decrease, but if you continue this practice, if you stand firmly and motionless, your body will start to go numb. During this phase, your concentration will increase, and you need to concentrate. The first thing you need to concentrate on is sound. Then, when you hear the sound and feel inspiration in your heart, begin concentrating on the image. At this point, you may feel fear in your heart that something might go wrong with your body. The body will feel like it's all merged together. It will feel heavy, like lead. But try to focus on holiness and see holiness as something pure and luminous that supports your body. At this moment, you will feel that this heaviness gradually turns into lightness. For some, it starts in the head. For others, in the legs and arms. Gradually, your body becomes a light and concentrated conglomerate. At that point, your concentration on prayer becomes phenomenal.
We don't change our body position, do we?
Don't change it. Afterwards, some chronic diseases in your body will go away. This practice is also healing. For healing, a stationary position of the body is all you need. I do this every day. There are several body positions that enhance concentration, each with a specific purpose. For example, standing motionless develops patience. Let's say there's an alcoholic at home, or a despot at work, or someone dear is seriously ill. You need to wait for that person to recover. The standing pose develops patience and improves concentration on sound. The second body posture is the kneeling pose. When someone kneels, they aren't just enduring, they are cultivating humility. They develop the ability to accept something in their life. Say your husband cheated. Standing won't help anymore. You can't endure this. You need to accept the situation. So you kneel, keeping your body straight, and you begin to accept the situation. You become more humble. That humility allows you to forgive. Say a husband cheats and his wife forgives him. When she forgives, what happens then? She overcomes her karma. He no longer has an incentive to cheat. If he has no incentive to cheat, his conscience awakens inside. Every time he leaves his wife to go to the other woman, his conscience torments him because he no longer has the right to do this. Always, when a loved one does something, they do it because it is sanctioned from the heart. That's how a person overcomes their fate. But when you defeat fate in prayer, kneeling humbly and forgiving, then the other one no longer has the opportunity to continue. They no longer have strength or inspiration, they lose interest and gradually return. The next body position is when you kneel and sit on your buttocks. Sitting on the buttocks develops willpower. You become more stable in achieving goals and more strong-willed. In every body posture, wait until the body goes numb and then relaxes. After the body relaxes, fatigue appears. As soon as you feel fatigue, change your body position. You can't wait for fatigue to develop. First the body numbs, then lightens. After this, after some time, change your body posture. Use several body positions during prayer, but remain still in each, no swaying. If you begin to sway, intelligence becomes weaker than the mind. Our intelligence should be strong. Intelligence is strengthened through sound. When you listen to the voice of a holy person, your intelligence becomes firm and strong. Gradually, your intelligence grows stronger and stronger. When intelligence reaches sufficient strength to fight fate, your own voice will begin to come from your heart. It will merge with the sound of the holy person. It will start coming from the heart. When intelligence connects to the heart, real inner work begins. The next body posture is called the butterfly pose. This name comes from Sanskrit and yoga. Feet together, knees spread to the sides, torso slightly bent. This body pose helps you overcome sexual desire. When you are overwhelmed by lust, unrestrained desires, or strong anger, resentment or envy, or any uncontrollable urge, use this position. These desires mean that lust and a strong desire for sex are at work. For women, this might appear as a strong desire to have someone nearby. The butterfly pose helps. First the body goes numb, then suddenly the desire passes. Lust is dissolved in this body position. That's why monks in Vedic culture often sit in it during prayer. The next body position is the lotus pose or Padmasana. Practice it with an instructor and slowly. Place one leg on the adjacent thigh and the second one like this. Read prayers in this position. This position increases the concentration. You may struggle to visualize a mental image. You start to think about a holy person or an event or about the Holy Land, but you can't focus because everything blurs in your head. Use the Padmasana pose. Sit like this and place your prayer beads in the right hand. With your left hand, connect the will finger to the self finger. Connect the will with the self, and this will strengthen your concentration. This hand position strengthens your concentration. When one of your legs is still lying like this, you become able to concentrate on the image. The next sitting posture is placing one leg behind the other, like this. This position is meant to calm the mind. When a person cannot calm down, they sit like this, and it brings peace. I've explained all the main sitting postures that are suitable for prayer. If you pray while walking or you sway your body, it won't be effective. You need to sit still in one of the main positions I showed earlier.
Is it possible to bow during prayer?
You can bow during prayer, but to pray correctly, it's better not to bow in the beginning. First, you need to reach a certain inner state. When your voice becomes strong, your sound comes from the heart, and you're fully immersed in prayer. That's when uplifting images start filling the heart. You forget your problems, and then you can begin to bow. If you start too early, your mind won't focus. You'll stay in a scattered state. You can bow mentally when your concentration grows and your inner strength builds.
I've tried this, but the issue was my body. It started going numb and aching. It was uncomfortable to pray.
Yes, the mind rebels at first, but you need to overcome yourself at this moment. You need to relax instead of changing the posture.
I went a different way. I used an ordinary sitting position. When you just sit, it was easier to concentrate.
But still you're asking me how to increase concentration. Let me explain again more deeply. In our body there are subtle energy channels. When these energy channels are slightly blocked, concentration is lost in the body. There are several ways to cleanse them. You can cleanse these subtle energy channels before prayer by holding your breath. Simply inhale and hold your breath on the exhale, then exhale very slowly. Do this about 15-20 times. This method helps, but not too much. The one I shared with you earlier works extremely well. Raise your hand if you've managed to relax your body, even after it felt numb. Give the microphone to that lady. She'll share what happened and how she did it. We need positive experience, otherwise people will think that only I can do this. By the way, this also cures diseases in the body. This can be a motivation for you. You can get rid of all chronic diseases with this method.
Hello. After that, I don't change my posture anymore, though at first everything really goes numb.
But how do you manage not to move? The mind usually goes crazy. It starts shouting, "You'll get sick. Something bad will happen."
No.
Then you must be well trained. Have you ever done any sport?
Yes.
You have physical training. But in most people, the mind resists so strongly, it's intense. So it's better to start with simple postures. For example, when you're standing, numbness doesn't feel so bad. When you're sitting in a position that's not natural for you, you need to start with simple body positions. That way, overcoming the discomfort is simpler. Once you overcome it, you'll understand how to manage in other postures too. This is how I do it during exercises, which relieves my tension from traveling. I also say prayers while doing that exercise, because it's better to do something meaningful than just stretch. In fact, prayer during exercise improves focus even more. In 40 minutes, and I'm 50 years old, I can bend completely in half like this. Try bending forward like that. When I first sit down, I can't even bend forward. But after 40 minutes, I'm already fully bent. This happens through relaxation. Then I do the bridge pose, bending backwards. During this time, health improves, and focus during prayer becomes stronger through these movements. But I don't recommend using these exercises as your main practice for prayer. It's better to sit in one of the positions I mentioned earlier. You didn't succeed simply because you didn't believe in it. Just believe, and you'll see how powerful it is. Your concentration becomes so strong that you truly feel you can overcome your fate. This practice increases your inner focus. People have used practices like this since ancient times. I first noticed these effects myself long ago. At that time, I was exploring Orthodox Christianity. I visited one temple. I was around 22 years old. There was a night vigil. I just stood still. Everyone else was standing, so I stood too, but I felt I couldn't continue, while others seemed steady and strong. I asked a woman nearby, "What should I do? It's hard to stand." I even started swaying. My head was spinning. She said, "Don't move." At first you'll feel uncomfortable, but if you don't move, It will pass, and then you can stand the whole night. So I did just that. First everything went numb. Then suddenly lightness came, followed by strong concentration. I stood like that almost the whole night, maybe not the entire night, but for a long time, and I really liked it. That was my first experience. It wasn't connected to the Vedas. People use such practices instinctively across different cultures and traditions. Now tell us, how do you do it? What's your experience? The young lady with the microphone, please continue.
To be honest, I've become lazy now.
You know why that happens? Because everything became comfortable. People don't need much. Once things are fine, they stop praying. Tell us how it was when you weren't lazy.
In the morning, I did namaskar, then a light breathing practice, and after that, I would start meditation and prayer.
So it helped you because you did exercises. After that, it became easier for you. I understand. Let's hear from that gentleman now. Go ahead.
I'll share my experience. It means a lot to me. Since you asked, here it is. Since childhood, I felt a connection. I used to talk to God even as a child. It came naturally.
That's from your past life. You already had that experience, 100% sure?
I'm speaking as I feel it, and now I'm already 32 years old. I feel like I've been through a lot of hardship in life. After that, someone told me about Dr. Torsunov, and I started listening.
You started listening to that annoying voice?
No. For 3 months I listened, and I prayed every morning and every evening. I started with 5 minutes and gradually reached 30.
Do you know what you should do at such times? Think of your spiritual teacher. It helps you stay humble when people praise you. I'm just commenting.
Yes, I mean that at that moment, it was very difficult for me. I was facing a lot of challenges. But those 3 months were enough. All the problems just disappeared. Life became so much easier. It was an amazing experience. But then I stopped doing it, and now I'm just living with the memory of those days.
Shall I wish you more difficulties?
No, please don't.
Everyone has the same problem. Nobody needs God. Everyone needs happiness. Once happiness comes, goodbye, God.
But we're trying.
All right, I agree. That's how the process goes. This is the first stage. But the most surprising thing is that most people live only in difficulties, and the reason is they lack proper understanding. They don't know that difficulties can be overcome simply by developing a relationship with holiness. You said just 3 months and that's it. Has your life improved?
Of course it has, and it keeps getting better.
Most people know nothing about this. They think it's impossible. They think you don't even have real problems, but look at mine. Prayer won't help here at all. They believe they just need some advice. But in truth, there's only one real advice, this spiritual practice that can overcome fate. I didn't invent this practice. People have been following it for thousands of years. Thank you for your inspiring experience. You have inspired us. It's very important to inspire others because we often lack faith, and we need faith. It's very important for us to hear such experiences, your personal experience.
For me, it's very easy to pray. When I pray, I focus, and it feels like I'm speaking to God, exchanging energy with Him.
That's very good. Everything is correct so far.
And this helps me stay in the state of prayer for quite a long time. If I find it hard to concentrate while praying, I just start again, and it helps me refocus.
Do you listen to the voice of a holy person?
Yes, and it helps me.
Please know this is the most important thing, because there are 2 ways to pray. One is by your own effort, and the other by the mercy of a spiritual elder. When someone prays using only their own effort, the result is very weak. There are 2 ways to pray with the mercy of a mentor. The first, keep your teacher in your heart and never forget him. In this case, you don't need to hear his voice. You pray through his grace, just by remembering. The second way, listen to his voice and remember his mercy through the sound. This is a very powerful method. It truly works. That's very important. But at a certain stage, it's also necessary not just to talk with God, but to move towards serving Him. And that's the trap. Because in the early stages of spiritual growth, it's very important to listen to the voice of a spiritually elevated person and to connect your development with them, not with yourself. But everything you said, I really liked it. Keep practicing. It's especially important to have emotion. You said that you talk with God, that you have a relationship with Him. There are 3 types of relationships with God. The first is asking. This is the lowest level of connection with God. The second type is learning. When you talk to God, this conversation brings understanding. You communicate with Him and learn about life. He tells you how the world works, how to live right. Through your relationship with Him, you gain wisdom. And the third is service to God. This is the highest and most powerful level. When you place knowledge in second place and say, I want to live for you. I want to do something good for you, not for myself, but for you. Good, thank you very much. The man in the front row.
Why does there always have to be some misfortune? Why do we have to wait for problems to come? Maybe it can be different. One may think, you've already given me so much. I have everything. I see how unworthy I am, how lazy I am, how much more I could do, but I don't. Still, I thank you for everything. Why is it like this? Every day I repent, I ask, and then repeat the same. I feel unworthy. How can I even ask for anything?
Thank you. That's the pure truth. This is exactly how it should be done. There are two right ways to do this. One is the way you just described. The second, when a person is in trouble. Even then, they should think about God in the same way. Actually, even during difficulties, a person should not think about themselves at all. And for that, one must accept their destiny. What you just said, that is acceptance. Without acceptance, it's impossible to move forward. When someone says, thank you for what I have, I don't really need anything more, I just want to serve you, then relief still comes and life events start to improve anyway. Because God also doesn't want us to suffer. There are two options. Either I try to solve my problems myself and don't let God help, or I accept my fate and then God begins to act through the heart. In reality, there's no other way to build a relationship with Him. The first step is acceptance. I agree with everything. Thank you for what I have. I don't need anything else in life. I just want to serve you in the state I'm in now. And when someone sincerely feels this way, at that moment God gives them the strength to live correctly. That means to live happily without suffering. But there is a special category of people. Let's talk about them, although most of us don't belong to that group. These people don't even want to live happily. They put chains on themselves and go into caves. They want to suffer for God. This is a very high level of spiritual development. And why do they want to suffer for God? Because they've already tasted all the happiness of this world. Sometimes just a little prayer, 3 months, and you already feel joy in the heart, strength, like you can overcome anything. And then you think, I don't even need to pray anymore. I feel great. Goodbye, God, that's it. That's our nature. We don't really want Him. That's why we were born in this material world. That man opened his heart, and it's true, we are like that. Why do we suffer and struggle here? Because we don't really want God. What we want is our own happy life, and that's the root of our problem. But if a person already feels the happiness of a relationship with God, then all other forms of happiness in this life come automatically. And still, such people understand, I don't need those things. Then they put chains on themselves, go into a cave or a monastery. They dedicate their entire life to God, keep thinking about Him, and increase their austerity practices. They start standing on a stone for 3 years, eating just one type of food for 3 years, and similar things. Such a person begins to repent, forever wanting to live without God. But this is a very high level. Don't even try to imitate it. Don't even come close to trying to imitate it. This is what spiritually elevated saints do. But in your own prayer, reach a state where you say, Lord, I want nothing. I'm content with whatever you give. My husband left. It means it was meant to happen. I accept it. This means there is already a connection with God. When someone has even a small connection with God, this feeling naturally arises in their heart. You cannot fake it. Still, a person may wish for the husband to return. You can't imitate such feelings, but when someone prays sincerely, a deep sense appears in the heart. Let your will be done, not mine. As you wish, let it be so, but I want to serve you. When someone reaches this state, believe me, the husband naturally starts to feel drawn back. Nothing happens without God's will, but there are foolish people who feel drawn back, yet still don't return. Such people face consequences. And if you have prayed and earned a reward, you will receive someone even better. Life never revolves around just one person. That's simply not how it works. Yes, God may first attach us to one person. We pray, we try. But if God doesn't want it to continue, and you feel you've done your part, that's what really matters. You prayed, you tried to bring him back. A year passes, maybe a year and a half. You feel you did everything you could, and now your heart is at peace. That means God will send someone else right away. As soon as you've done everything, a new person appears, no problem. What matters to God is that we are happy and live a peaceful, righteous life. I hope this talk we just had inspires you to continue practicing what we discussed in the previous lecture. Tomorrow at the beginning of the session, I will remind you of this technique. We will again speak about how to concentrate on sound, how to bow to a holy person, and so on. We will remind you from time to time so you can understand this practice and fight for your fate. What is happening now in Ukraine simply shows how much work needs to be done. But if all of you or all of us together begin to pray, it will come to an end. It will end. There will be no more suffering on this earth. Suffering comes from a lack of connection with God. It means we don't have enough of that relationship. The world is woven from the influence of time. Time puts pressure on everything and causes aging. The body ages under the influence of time. Time is an unstoppable force. It cannot be overcome. But sometimes time acts gently, smoothly, without disturbing the events of this world, and sometimes it acts very harshly. When it acts harshly, people go through 3 stages of inner transformation. This transformation doesn't happen just in the body. Time doesn't only affect the physical body, it not only causes aging or illness. When time strongly impacts the body, wrong energies accumulate, and this leads to illness. But any illness can be overcome in several ways. The first is fasting, either just water fasting or eating raw vegetables or no food at all. Fasting helps to overcome the influence of time. The energy of time creates blockages inside, while fasting strengthens and expands the subtle energy channels. Fasting helps resist time. The second method for resisting time and staying healthy is breath retention. That's why there are so many breathing practices. They all help in overcoming chronic illnesses. The third method to counter time in the body is through physical exercises. The most powerful ones are static exercises, where the person holds still or bends very slowly. Static postures are the most effective. But sometimes even regular, long physical exercise helps, like an hour of running or fitness workouts with various movements. Such exercises increase strength and endurance. When a person has a lot of work to do, they feel energized, they have strength and the ability to work further if they do physical exercises. But to overcome chronic diseases, one must do static exercises, still postures combined with prayer, as I mentioned. Without prayer, it's very hard to maintain those poses. You need some source of strength to support you. When time influences the mind, not just the physical body, it brings 3 inner states, one after another, which gradually destroy life. These states can destroy not just one person's life, but even a whole nation or the entire planet. The first state that comes when time acts harshly is fear. Fear can arise for any reason. Everything that happens may be seen through the lens of fear. Fear means a lack of connection with God. Each of us has a connection with God. It is felt as an inner sense of peace. When someone says, "I feel calm, everything is okay," it means there is contact with God. There is a divine presence in the heart of every person. It's called conscience or Paramatma in Sanskrit, the super soul. You can call it whatever you like, inner truth, for example. But every person has God's presence within the heart. From there comes conscience, happiness, good memories, and strength to overcome fate, all felt right here in the heart. All this is a sign of connection with God, but when that connection is broken due to the pressure of time, fear arises, and it arises right here in the heart. When fear arises, the mind starts looking for someone to blame. That's why the second stage is called duality. Duality means thinking there are good people and bad people. For example, my husband is to blame for my problems, my children are to blame, my boss is to blame. On a global scale, one nation blames another. This duality leads to anger, and anger turns into violence. Did you catch the stages? Now listen, what happens when people begin to pray? Suppose we all pray together. What are we praying for? For peace. A person cannot live without peace. Everyone simply wants peace in life. In ancient culture, people of different nations and spiritual paths used to gather and chant prayers called Shanti mantras. The word Shanti literally means peace. The most important thing a person should seek is peace, because peace means closeness to God. There must be peace in the heart. I wish peace to your home and similar blessings. Those are also Shanti mantras. How do they sound? Sarve bhavantu sukhina, may all be happy. Sarve shantu niramaya, may all be in peace, may there be no war. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, may every person experience good fortune. Makaschit dukkha bhakbhavid, may no one suffer. These are prayers that people from different traditions and cultures can recite together in unity. These are Shanti mantras. The first thing that happens is the end of conflict. I've told you 4 stages. The first stage happens through collective prayer. When people begin to pray and seek closeness to God, they naturally move closer to peace. Because contact with God brings peace in the heart. If there is no peace in the heart, it means there is no contact with God. People say, I bow to a holy person, and the first thing they feel is inner calm. That calmness means peace. In the same way, when people pray, the first thing they feel is peace, then anger fades. Next, people stop seeing others as enemies. The mindset of we are good, they are bad, disappears, and relationships between nations begin to calm down. What comes next? Victory. Victory means peace, happiness, and everyone is satisfied. It also means that politically everything returns to how it was. Everyone feels content. And this can happen only through what happens here, inside. History shows that when the Saint Sergius of Radonezh prayed, victory came. Victory always means prayer. It happens inside, in the heart. I already told you today that the last time I experienced this was this morning. This morning I went to the airport in Germany, then to the Czech Republic to get here. It was early morning. Suddenly a storm started with snow. The road there goes up and down like in cartoons. People live on such slopes there. That's the scene. The car had summer tires, and while driving it started sliding on the asphalt. It was really very scary, but we had to keep going. We couldn't stop. We needed to get to the airport. I just played the voice of a holy person and started praying. As soon as I began praying, I watched the driver. During that, his mind calmed down. At first, fear appeared in his heart. Then he started kind of blaming the weather. It was a struggle inside. Then he began shouting. He went through 3 stages. The only thing left was crashing. I thought, we don't need a 4th stage. I want to live and keep giving lectures. So I prayed along with the voice of the holy person. First, he focused. Second, he stopped thinking about the weather. Third, he calmed down. I saw the car moving steadily, at just the right speed to avoid slipping. Then the road went uphill. He had summer tires. On wet asphalt, it's usually impossible to drive uphill. The wheels just spin and the car stays in place. But he chose a speed so that the car kept moving steadily. At first we were slipping, but then I focused on prayer, and he kept the speed, so the car just went on without stopping. We drove all the way through like this, then downhill, not a single slip. That's how we made it. Then we got out of that cyclone zone and arrived safely. I'm just sharing some simple examples from my life, simple ones.
Did you pray out loud?
I prayed out loud. I wasn't shy. Later, when we parted, the driver said, "Thank you for the lectures and for praying while driving."
Did he drive back by himself?
He is from Prague. He said, "I will never go back." "No way," he said. "I won't go back alone." It was a nightmare there, really. Driving was impossible. So, continue with our topic, and questions will come later. Now we will dive into the conversation. How should we correctly relate to events and to people who make mistakes? Sometimes an entire nation makes a mistake. How to react right? One must understand that everything in this world is affected by time. The energy of time has an impact on people's minds. What is happening now is mild compared to what happened in 1941, in the last century. Entire nations, entire peoples just went crazy. Look, there was a world war. Not just 2 nations, but the whole world went mad. Many military events happened at once in different parts of the earth. Now the same is happening, basically. It's just not so systematic as it was before. This is how time works. We need to understand that time will keep acting this way. For 3 more years, things will be very difficult. The situation will worsen, not just in Ukraine, but worldwide. What is happening here now is what I saw in my prayers, that in Ukraine it could be hard still in June and July. And then there should be some kind of resolution to all this. I can't say for sure. Something else might happen. Maybe not what I expect. I just felt there could be more. Then there will be relief. Even now I've come to Kiev. As soon as the plane landed, I looked around and saw things have gotten better, easier. My heart feels better, calmer. When I came last time, time was working very badly. Everyone was tense, people were in despair. Now it's starting to ease. Time affects everything in this world. It affects nations, peoples, maybe the whole earth in a bad way, and also an individual's life specifically. And this energy of time can only be overcome by contact with holiness. The first stage is that violence disappears. Violence can happen in a person's life. Imagine a person is abandoned by a loved one. Who here has been abandoned by a loved one? Raise your hand. Do you feel violence against you? Give the microphone to the lady.
I probably brought myself to this state.
There are 2 ways to evaluate. 1, he is bad. The other, I am bad. This is called duality. Without God, it's impossible to get out of this state. Someone has to be bad. But it doesn't help, whether you are bad or he is. You being bad means a certain stage of stress called guilt. First shock, then we blame the person, anger comes, and in the end I start to feel bad myself. Then depression sets in.
I've had this 4 times. I've broken up with this person 4 times.
So it's normal, not so bad.
Now, on the contrary, I think it's easier for me to understand the breakup process because I've been praying for 2 years.
The first feeling is violence. This person tortures me. Why are you leaving me? I did so much good for you. Do you have children together?
No. After my husband, I had a serious relationship with someone else.
This is not your husband. Then who?
That's what I'm talking about.
This happened after your previous husband? So he's also a husband if you live like that with him. Why don't you consider him your husband? Things must be really bad.
Because he couldn't leave his family, whom he sent to live in Germany, and kept having a relationship.
Like in that old joke, dude shows up wearing a fur coat. His friend asks him, "Where'd you get that coat?" He says, "What do you mean where? I found it." "And where did you find it?" "I found it on the street." "How exactly did you find it? Tell me the whole story." He says, "There was a guy tangled up in it. Took me ages to untangle him." Like with your husband, he couldn't leave his family.
His ex-wife lives officially with another husband.
She found another fur coat. I understand things are really tangled. I get it. They exchange fur coats, but he's still your husband. Prayer helps with everything. Peace is established. A man makes his choice. He clearly chooses where he will live. This going back and forth is the influence of time. What does time do? It creates duality. First fear, then duality, then violence. You've reached violence. He started leaving you, and violence began. You start praying, the violence ends. How can it end? In 2 ways. If it's truly better for you to stay without him, God will give you peace in your heart. He'll say, "Calm down, you don't need this man." He'll say, "Things will be fine for you now. We'll help you. We'll find you a good man." God brings peace into your heart, and suddenly you feel calm. Everything feels okay.
Yes, it feels much calmer now.
See? That means you're getting close. Just don't say later, "First I lived with my husband, then with this man, and now with another one." You'll need to get married, right?
Cool.
Good. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.